All right, so get this. We're diving into the Village People today.
The Village People.
Yeah, those guys. YMCA.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot more to them than just that one song, right?
Oh, yeah.
They've
Definitely.
got a ton of articles, vintage interviews, all sorts of stuff.
Wow.
Enough to really get a sense of their impact,
Yeah.
musically, culturally.
It's fascinating. They really went from like a concept to a
I
phenomenon.
know. Platinum records a Hollywood movie, even a presidential inauguration performance.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild. But let's rewind to the beginning.
Okay.
Disco. What was it about that time that created a group like this?
Well, disco wasn't just music.
Yeah.
It was a whole cultural movement.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Freedom of expression, pushing boundaries.
Exactly. All there on the dance floor.
That energy really comes through in what we're looking at.
Yeah.
And it seems like this producer, Jacques Morali, he was really tuned in.
Absolutely. He was captivated by the New York club scene, especially the gay scene.
Oh,
Yeah, flamboyant costumes, those larger-than-life characters, cowboys, construction workers.
like the Village People themselves.
Exactly. He wanted a group to embody that, and that's how they were born.
Like he assembled a disco superhero team,
Yeah.
each member with their own archetype.
Right.
Felipe Rose with the Native American regalia. He was first right at.
He was, and his look really became the visual core of the group.
I can see that.
Then Victor Willis joined as the policeman, the lead singer.
Oh, yeah.
Powerful voice and so charismatic.
And then they named the Village People. It's pretty obvious where that came from.
Greenwich Village, yeah.
The artistic spirit, and at that time, a real center of LGBTQ plus culture.
It really solidified that connection for them to this creativity and counterculture.
And their debut album in 77,
77.
songs like San Francisco, You Got Me, and Fire Island.
It captured that time perfectly.
But one of the sources argues that their second album, Macho Man, was a turning point.
Interesting.
It broadened their appeal, brought them more mainstream.
Macho Man,
Mhm.
that title track, it became a global anthem.
Huge.
It wasn't just about physical strength, though.
Oh, yeah.
This confidence, this swagger.
Resonated with everyone.
Yeah, people from all different backgrounds connected with it.
They really tapped into something with that one.
Definitely.
It was a cultural shift happening.
Yeah.
People wanted new ways to express strength and identity.
That song gave them an outlet.
Totally.
And then their third album, Cruisin' Things, get really interesting. YMCA.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
More than just a song.
It really was like a cultural explosion. Those lyrics,
Yeah.
so simple, the hand gestures.
It took on a life of its own.
And Victor Willis, he co-wrote it.
Yeah.
He always said it wasn't specifically about gay culture, but
Right.
the LGBTQ plus community embraced it.
Absolutely. It became an anthem of acceptance, even if it wasn't intended that way.
We could see that happening in the sources.
For sure.
News articles, interviews, even some old fan letters.
Wow.
And then Go West, their fourth album.
In the Navy.
That's the one. The U.S. Navy wanted to use it for recruitment.
Really?
That's what it says. Shows how massive their reach was.
I know. Sailors dancing to In the Navy in ads. Can you imagine? They ended up not doing it, but it was still a huge hit.
Of course.
A staple of their live shows. I mean, they were on top of the world.
But nothing lasts forever, really.
Yeah, unfortunately.
The disco era started to fade. What happened to them when the music stopped?
Well, the early 80s, there was a backlash against disco.
Oh, right.
It's fascinating how tastes can change so fast.
Yeah.
And the biggest example of that was probably Disco Demolition Night.
Remind me about that one. What happened?
It was a publicity stunt at a baseball game in Chicago.
Okay.
People brought their disco records to be destroyed.
Oh, no.
It was supposed to be fun, but it got out of hand.
Really?
Turned into a riot, actually had to be shut down by the police.
Wow. That's a
So-
turning point for sure.
Yeah.
And it seems like things got tough for the Village People, too.
Yeah.
Their movie Can't Stop the Music bombed.
It did. Yeah. Although it's a cult classic now.
I guess so.
But the timing was terrible.
Yeah.
Around that time, Victor Willis left the group, and there were a lot of lineup changes.
So they were dealing with disco, dying, a flop movie, a changing lineup.
It was a rough patch.
That's rough. What did they do? Did they just fade away?
They didn't fade away. They actually reinvented themselves.
Oh, that's right. They became like a nostalgia act.
Exactly.
Still performing, but at festivals, corporate events, pride celebrations.
All sorts of things.
They kind of transcended the whole disco era.
It really shows you how their music had this enduring appeal,
Yeah.
It went beyond, disco became this symbol of good time celebration.
Community.
Exactly. And it's amazing how they adapted and connected with new audiences that way.
And speaking of connecting with audiences, we got to talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Village People and Donald Trump.
Yeah. It's a controversial chapter for sure.
It's wild, right? Their music, Macho Man, YMCA, played at Trump rallies.
Wow.
Some fans were surprised, even angry.
I can see why it was pretty unexpected, especially given their connection to LGBTQ plus culture.
And then there was the performance at his inauguration in 2017.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about a polarizing moment.
The sources really show the debate that happened.
Yeah.
Some people saw it as just business, you know?
Yeah.
They were hired to perform, so they did.
But others felt like it went against their message of inclusivity, LGBTQ plus advocacy.
Right. Some felt that performing for Trump, given his views, was like an endorsement.
It really brings up that question. Can you separate the art from the artist?
Or in this case, the context it's being used in.
Victor Willis had rejoined the group by then.
Yeah.
He insisted it wasn't an endorsement of Trump's policies, just a commitment to entertaining everyone.
It definitely started a conversation, though.
It did, and it's a conversation worth having, you know?
For sure.
Especially now when music and politics are so intertwined.
Yeah, it makes you think about the responsibility artists have, how their work can be seen differently depending on the context.
So we've talked about their rise, their challenges, the Trump thing, but where are they now? What's their legacy?
Well, they're still going strong, which is pretty incredible given everything.
It is, when you think about it.
Victor Willis is back in the lineup, bringing a ton of energy to their shows.
From a New York nightclub to a global phenomenon decades later.
Amazing.
It's a real testament to the power of music
Absolutely.
and their ability to connect with something universal.
You still hear their music everywhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
Weddings, sporting events, parties.
It's become like a soundtrack for celebration.
Totally. And they've had this huge impact on pop culture, too.
Oh, yeah. Movies, TV shows, memes, they're iconic.
Those costumes, those catchy tunes. It's all part of our culture now.
So what do you think it is after all this that keeps people coming back to the Village People?
It's hard to say exactly, but I think it's that mix of joy, inclusivity, and just plain fun that they bring.
It's like they created this space where people could let loose, be themselves, and celebrate life.
And that never goes out of style.
You know, it's easy to just focus on the catchy tunes and the costumes.
Yeah.
But they were pioneers in their own way, celebrating diversity and individuality way before it was mainstream. And especially given their connection to the LGBTQ plus community.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's easy to focus on the fun stuff, but they were pushing boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. They were celebrating diversity and individuality long before it was cool.
I'm looking at this interview with Felipe Rose from way back.
Oh, wow.
He talks about how the group's diverse lineup was a deliberate choice, like a reflection of the real world.
Makes sense.
They wanted to show that everyone could come together and celebrate no matter who they were.
That's powerful, using their platform to send a message like that.
And it still resonates today, think about it.
Yeah.
You see people of all ages, backgrounds, everyone dancing to YMCA.
It's true. It's like a universal language.
Totally a language of fun and celebration.
Their music, it's gone beyond generations and cultures.
It really has.
They've become the symbol of unity and good times. That's incredible.
Oh. So what's the takeaway then? What have we learned from our deep dive into the Village People?
Well, I think it shows us that music can be more than just entertainment.
Yeah.
It can be a force for change, a reflection of our values, a source of joy that connects people.
It makes you wonder what from our time will have that kind of staying power.
That's a great question.
What will people look back on and say, that was us?
What music art ideas from today will last?
It's something to think about the Village. People weren't just about catchy songs.
Right.
They tapped into something deeper, something that resonated with everyone.
They did it with joy and inclusivity, too. That's inspiring.
It really is. They show the power of music to bring people together,
Yeah.
challenge norms, make a more accepting and joyful world.
Absolutely.
So there you have it, the Village People, more than just a disco group,
Yeah.
a cultural phenomenon still making an impact today.
Sometimes all it takes is a catchy tune, some iconic costumes, and a lot of heart to make a difference.
That's the truth.